NCSA, and he's going to talk a little bit about the journey they've been on since he's joined.
Hi guys. So today I'm going to talk to you about how agility and iterative testing is transforming NCSA. So we need to tackle one of the biggest problems, and it's actually not A/B testing first. We actually got probably the biggest problem in this room. We all bought email lists and we're not getting leads. But before I do that, So I'm going to move on to the actual disclaimer though. This presentation may contain information that is proprietary, privileged, and/or confidential, and is intended exclusively for the persons to whom it is addressed. Any use, copying, retention, or disclosure by any person other than the intended recipient or the intended recipient's designees is strictly prohibited without signed consent. All right? So, hear about NCSA. What does NCSA stand for? It stands for National Collegiate Scouting Association. We're basically the Match.com, the digital platform that connects high school athletes and their families to college roster spots. So if you've got a kid in school, or it starts as early as 6th and 7th grade now, and you're a helicopter parent, then you guys are pretty familiar with the recruiting push for top athletes. Main market is D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA route. So we're a highly personalized experience that helps student athletes get recruited and find the right college match. So it's not always about the best scholarship. It's not always about the best team. It's also about finding a proper match for their college experience. We connected more than 500,000 student athletes with over 35,000 college coaches. And these are coaches from all divisions, up to 29 sports. We're constantly adding sports. We're the only NCAA approved recruiting network actually. And business and data-wise, that actually means that we kind of get in a new onslaught of recruits every single year because we deal with grad years, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And our staff is actually largely comprised of former college and professional athletes. We're currently at about over 450. And I do have an agenda. So first we're going to go over the executive summary, problem, solution, story, data, and what NCSA is up to today. So NCSA wanted to enhance the customer journey via email. It's pretty simple. They wanted to add a free educational tool. It evolved into something different, but we'll talk about that later. And they regularly wanted to share information to remind users and kind of keep it at the top of mind. Also, you would think pretty easy. The marketing department was challenged by limited email knowledge and budget. So primarily what I'll be presenting today is actually from 2014, and this is pre-hire me and post-hire me, pretty much. And through iterative testing and an agile marketing model, these two initiatives have since evolved into a newsletter and a webinar program. And now these two email series that did not exist prior to 2014, they actually now generate up almost 4% of directly attributable revenue. And for a company of any size, that's actually a pretty significant margin for especially a free product. So the problem, again, it's originally posed as what long-term measure can we really do to increase engagement rates of NCSA's email programs? And then once that stone was unturned, of course, you ask one question, you got a million problems that arise, and you also notice that list attrition was a concern, questionable deliverability, lead attribution was pretty much non-existent for a good portion of them, of our leads, C-level miseducation, so flat outright misunderstanding of what the value of an open or a click is, a lack of strategy overall, and poor design and content feedback, and not fully utilizing the capabilities of a super expensive ESP that we had, or at least relative to the functionality that we were using it for at that time. Like I said, you ask one question, you got a whole bunch of others. So through my tenure there, I actually was able to also identify quite a few other more specific email problems and assumptions that were being made throughout the entire organization or just the email team. So that's just a long list of them, kind of pick and choose what you want, but I'm sure that as email marketers, you all have all ran into these one time or another. So the solution, I had to ask myself, what would Jesse do? And it's a test. It's really just a test, analyze, learn, test, revalidate, repeat, test, learn, revalidate. Really doesn't matter what order. Test would of course come first, but you need to repeat this over and over, and that's kind of also the philosophy of agile methodology and software development, is to constantly iterate, and you also need to have reasonably flexible goals. So the story, as I said before, we're kind of referencing two different time frames. One is 175 days in range, beginning of 2014, Jan 1 to June 25th. And then the second time range that we're comparing to is the 26th of June through the 28th of October. Notice that there are difference in the amount of days. And also this is a presentation of cumulative data. So you know, I do realize that there are these conditions with this particular presentation, and this is a comparison of two continuous time frames. So I know time frame testing does have its drawbacks, but for the sake of this presentation, this is exactly what we are presenting. And the time frames, as I said, do differ in length by about